Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Mimosa Fridays podcast, a show where we share powerful life lessons and a few laughs as Gail empowers others as she sits at the intersection of people, purpose, and politics while sipping on mimosas. Now grab some orange juice and champagne and welcome your host, Gail Dudley.
What's up, everyone? This is Gail Dudley, and it is Mimosa Friday time. As I was sharing a little bit of teasing right before the holidays and soon thereafter, I was sharing with you that there's going to be a partnership that's going to be launching, and now is the time. We are so excited. I am so excited to introduce all of you to two of my amazing, creative, brilliant, brainy, brave sister girls, one in Texas and one right here in Ohio. And we have come together. You have seen Molly Huggins and her work when it comes to my website and all of my graphics. And you have also seen and heard from Gina on News in Motion, where she talked about podcasts. She is my audio engineer. She's the bomb.com, and she is in Ohio. And many of you have had an opportunity to connect with Gina. Well, today we're going to roll out a joint venture, an initiative that we decided to come together to do to serve all of you. And it's called Power in Partnership. And we are excited. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to be quiet just for a moment, and I'm going to throw it over to Molly so she can officially introduce herself. And then after Molly, she's going to throw it to Gina, and then we're going to start this conversation. I want you all to get your pen and paper or have your laptop or your memo on your smartphone. And I want you to take some detailed notes, because when we are at the end of this podcast today, not only are you going to be sharing it with other people, you're going to be contacting us. I just want you all to know this is going to be straight fire. I know you can't see me, but I have the biggest smile on my face. So ready for 2022 and this power and partnership. So Molly, take it away.
Hey y'all, my name is Molly Huggins and I live in Floresville, Texas. And first of all, let me tell you a little bit about myself. I have 5 kids, a whole bunch of animals, chickens, horse, dogs, cats, you name it. Trying to talk my husband into an alpaca or 2, but I don't know how that's going to go. And I have been writing since about 2012. I'm an English major by a long time ago. I'm a former helicopter pilot for the Army. I've been writing for myself and for other people since about 2012. Started adding design into that package about 2 or 3 years ago. I've always been an artist and loved color. And so I am here to talk to you guys about the importance of your visual identity online, what your branding, just some basic ideas for what that should look like across social media, on your website, branding, etc. If you've got any questions after the podcast that we didn't answer here today, you can always talk to me through my website or on my social media at the Green Glass Pen. I'm looking forward to talking to y'all today.
Awesome, Molly. And hello, everyone. I am Gina Winks. I'm in Ohio and I'm founder of Jinx Media. I am an audio engineer and podcast production specialist. I am here to help my clients and future clients get their voice heard loud and clear through podcast. A little bit of background about me. I have a son, a dog, and my husband at home, but I am like always on the go. I am in my studio all the time because I am extremely passionate about helping people get their message heard. Well, whether that is like their expertise, their story, their life story, helping others like interview like Gail does, get others' stories out there and expertise. And I am so excited I've always been excited to have the opportunity to work with Gail and help her with her podcast, but now to be merging with Gail and Molly in this power and partnership, it means the world to me because we all have the same goal to help people. And it just made so much sense to connect and do this. I also like to let people know, like, why did I get into audio engineering? I have always loved music. I went to school at Capital University. I got a degree in music tech. And I thought I wanted to do music production until I learned all about sound design for media. And here I am. So it's been over 10 years of audio engineering and about 5 years with Jinx with my own company. So
This is so cool, y'all. This is so cool. I'm just excited. So I'm gonna back up just for a moment and then share with you all, our listeners, how this came about. You know, it's amazing for me when God shows you powerhouse women or powerhouse people. And he showed me just the power of three people coming together to do work to help others. And so we wanted to look at, okay, what about the people who have dreams, but maybe they cannot give or pay a high ticket price of putting this together? What about people who already have their brand? They already have a logo, possibly. They already have an idea. Maybe they've already started a podcast and they're ready to take it to another level. So we looked at all these different tiers, which we are going to be rolling out on MLK Day 2022, so that you can look and see, wow, I need this. I'm not sure I need this so much, but I could use that. And we're merging all these things together because our goal is to launch you into what it is you have been called to do in this season, your purpose. We want you to be confident. We want you to be bold. We want you to take the leap. We want you to have faith. We want you to go out there letting people know that you have built your own table, you have pulled up your own chair, and you are inviting other people to come in to listen to what you have to offer. Whether that's whether you're an author and you want to you have a book and you want to get it out there, you want to talk about it, you want to do some coaching sessions. If you are a sportscaster and you want to start a podcast and talk about middle school sports or high school sports or college sports or whatever that is. If you are a physician, if you are a mompreneur or dadpreneur, or if you want to talk about finances, if you want to talk about how to make mimosas, hello somebody, I know that's all about me. And let me pause real quick and tell you this month's mimosa recipe. It's real simple. You're going to take some frozen mango chunks, some frozen mango chunks. You're going to take some mango juice, 100% juice, and you're going to have your champagne. You're going to put it in a blender. You're going to blend it up. And it's going to be so refreshing. Even if it is below zero outside, it's going to be a great drink. Again, if you want non-alcoholic, we know this is dry January. If you want non-alcoholic, you just want to get some sparkling cider or some soda water. Again, you're going to get some frozen mango chunks. You're going to get some 100% mango juice, and you're going to have either some champagne if you want it to be spiked, or if not, we're in dry January, you want to get some either sparkling cider or soda water. So there's your mimosa. But again, whatever it is, whatever story you want to tell, if you're in photography, if you're into gardening, if you're into mechanics, if you're into renovations, whatever, we're here to let you know that too can be a podcast. And we also added the blog piece to it. So let's say, well, you want to have a blog along with your podcast. That's cool. You don't need it. But some people have been asking that question. So without further ado, we're going to jump into this interview, and I'm going to start with Gina first. Gina, what's one of the things that you have found that people have challenges with when it comes to starting their podcast or taking their podcast to the next level?
Well, when it comes to starting the podcast, there is so much information online that it's overwhelming, and it can become a rabbit hole of information because so many people are starting up podcasts, which is a good thing. That's a whole other conversation, but there's so much information out there that it's overwhelming to even know where to start because there's so many different suggestions or recommendations. And also, like, they want to know, am I supposed to, purchase a microphone? Like, they just don't truly. The biggest roadblock is they have no idea where to start. And, what I always suggest is there's many different ways that you can start a podcast. You can literally, if you really want to, take your phone and voice record stuff. And then the next two steps to that would be get some sort of podcast hosting site and then upload the audio to the host site. And another super important thing, two other super important things, show notes. There has to be a description to the show, and there has to be a cover art to the show in order to publish it out to a podcast. So like those are the first steps. And if you absolutely have to take the first step on your phone, if that's what will make you start, that's what I say. As an audio engineer and someone who loves super good quality, that would be my goal for my podcast. But podcasts are so awesome that you can start at any level and you can grow that.
I love that. Thank you for sharing that, Gina. And that's one of the things that Gina is going to be covering when we launch Power in Partnership on MLK Day 2022. So there's a start for you. And you may be thinking, I've been into podcasting now for a little over a year, and I'm still learning. I am still learning. And if I only had someone like a Gina to turn to in the very beginning, not that I made mistakes, because I believe we can learn from our mistakes, but if I had her to walk with, to consult with me along this journey, it would have saved me a lot of time and a lot of money. And I want y'all to hear that, a lot of time and a lot of money. And that's why we are working together now. We're coming together in this partnership. So thank you so much for that, Gina. I'm gonna throw it over to you, Molly. I know you've helped me a lot when it comes to graphics, even having the power to say no to me when I'm thinking some things are gonna be a great image, and you come back and let me know that that is not the best image. So you have really, your expertise and your background has really positioned me to where people are asking questions about who's my graphic designer. So can you share just a little bit about your role in this partnership and how you can enhance someone's business, their brand, their platform, social media, and so forth?
Yes, absolutely. So, well, if you don't mind, Gail, I'll use your podcast logo process as an example, because we had worked together to kind of give your site a look, and we were really trying to keep it clean and modern and fun, and got to have the mimosa in there. And what we had started with was not bad, but was super busy and didn't, in my mind, evoke the same emotion as your website. So we played around with it and came up with something that was a lot more stripped down, very clear, and very in keeping with the best practices that you see right now. Like when you open up your Apple Podcasts or wherever you get your podcasts, Spotify, etc., and you look at what's out there, it's clean, it's fun, it's graphic, but it's not super busy, etc. So having a piece of visual identity that is in keeping with the best practices of the day is going to have a huge return on your investment when it comes to like your level of professionalism, what people see. The average user on the internet, their attention span's like 8 seconds. You have 8 seconds to capture and keep someone's attention, whether it's social media, website, etc. So you need to make those 8 seconds count. And so my role or my job here, and what I would like to do is to set you up wherever you are in the branding identity process. And it's a fairly stripped down process. But it is very carefully designed to kind of identify like your personality, your voice, the emotions you want to evoke, the tone you want to convey. For example, Gail, we have orange as Gail's color, and it's a warm, happy, like exciting color. All of those things. Like if I had to explain Gail to people, that would be the words that I use. So color matters, shapes matter, images matter, the layout, how your eye follows the shapes. It all tells a story about who you are and what you're trying to convey to your audience. And so I wish y'all could see how much I'm talking with my hands. It is ridiculous.
I love it.
I know. It's just, dear listener, appreciate that, please. So So what I can do is, so somebody comes to us and already has a brand but needs a podcast logo, I can come in with a podcast logo. If you're like, I have this seed of an idea and I want to tell my story and I want to do this and I have no idea what any of this looks like yet, then I can help you with that too. I have questionnaires designed to draw that information out. We work together, but I can help you put those best practices in place. Another thing that I'm really passionate about, full confession, I hate managing my social media, but I do it because it's important. So there are certain things, just very basic principles of social media that can help establish a brand, punch it up a little bit, just visual continuity across your platforms. There's a freebie right there. Have the same profile picture everywhere. Have the same logo. Have continuity in your brand across your platforms. Engage with your followers. Like that's where it's at. Engagement. So stuff like that. I call it my social media cheat sheet that I'll share with you guys as we move forward. But that's kind of I'm passionate, just again, same with Gina, like you want to get your voice out there. You want your story to be told. You want to put your best foot forward. But the hard truth is it's got to look good or people aren't going to pay attention. So that's where we're at here. So you'll have different options with me and where you're at in the process to kind of figure that out.
And what I like too about what Molly is sharing here, and I'm going to have her come back on in a moment, is that when she walked me through, she created what you call a mood board, and she helped me. Now, hear me, there's work involved in this, and you have to be willing to do the homework and to do your assignments. You just can't say, okay, you just pick something, because it has to look like you. And I love that Molly sent, I guess it was an assessment, if you will, that I completed, and she walked me through it. And if I did not come back and complete something, she would push it back on me like, Gail, you have to make this decision. And the other thing we want to stress to everyone, that this is an investment. Again, we have 3 different tiers that you'll be able to pull from, but this is an investment. And we want to get down to who you are as a person. So Molly, we can go back just for a moment, if you could just take 60 seconds or 2 minutes to share, how important is it for your client to go through the step-by-step process and to complete the assignments?
Well, I mean, first of all, as a designer, I wish that I could read your mind, but I can't. That's the first piece of the puzzle. So if you don't know yourself, then I can't know you, or your client can't know you. So it takes some self-reflection. And the cool thing about this whole process is that you will change. In 2 years, you might have a different voice. I've changed so much from just starting my business 7 years ago. Oh gosh, 7 years ago to now, and what I want to focus on and what my voice is and what my audience is and what my skill set is. So this isn't, you're not married to this for the rest of your life. Just start there. But it is helpful to know what emotions you want to convey, what color schemes you like. I mean, if you hate purple, I don't want to come back with a purple, or whatever. If you hate neon's big right now, like kind of old school 80s neon, which I don't particularly love. So I wouldn't use that in my website, even if that is a kind of a popular look. So, you really have to be able to assess your strengths and weaknesses honestly. And I would say that's true in all of the areas. Like if Gail's walking you through coaching or what have you, then you have to know, like, this is where I need more of a push. And this is where I'm like, this is my jam. This is my lane. It seems sort of obvious, but it is important to, like, the questions I'm going to ask are basically those. What kind of emotions do you want to convey? What, if I'll give you a list of attributes, are you feminine? Are you modern? You like clean graphic? Do you like old school retro, different kind of like visual vibes? What kind of information are you giving? I mean, is this really gravitas, talking about grief and, processing loss after, relationships after loss? If you're talking about that, then I'm not going to give you a pink flowery website. We're going to have something that fits this emotion that you're trying to tell. Mm-hmm. So I just think in general, it helps to know who you are and what you're trying to accomplish. Now, if I can push it back on Gail, I believe that is her lane. And if you're not sure, like you have this seed of an idea, but you need help developing it, I would say that is Gail's lane and something you could do in order to refine your vision before bringing it to me.
Yep, and she's absolutely correct, everyone. That's going to be my lane to help you flesh it out, and flesh through. I will challenge you. We will do a mapping process to look at it. And then once you're ready to get started, I'll help you do your show notes as well, which I'm going to now move over back to Gina, because Gina helped a lot, even now, where there were times, and I'll be honest with you, I have 14 published books out there. Gina was like, "Are you writing a book?" She said, "People aren't going to read all of that in your show notes." And so she has now backed me down. I think, Gina, I'm at about 200, 250 words. Every now and then I go a little bit over.
Yep,
and we see that people are now clicking on the link. So I'm going to go over to Gina. Gina, talk about what you are seeing when it comes to podcasts once you have uploaded it and done all the edits and everything that you do on your end. Because I just know with me, you were telling me I need to bring my words down, my word count down. And then from there, we noticed people started clicking the links because they're no longer reading 1,000, 1,500, 2,500 words.
Right. It's like once they see so many words, they're not going to get down to the links. And that's just part of how show notes are written, is the links are at the bottom. So you don't. Yeah, that's a really good example of like a learning process of what works and what doesn't.
Can you just talk, not the entire process, but just a little bit about the work on your end and how you work with the clients?
Okay, yeah. So I think I want to talk a little bit just about the process of how I can help in regards to like how you want your podcast out there. We all have our 3 tiers, and they're all for different people at different levels with different goals. And I think that's what I'd like to actually talk about, because there is the budget tier that I have for people that have audio, or maybe already have a broadcast show, already have some sort of thing that I'm pulling that audio from, and then adding the intro and outro for the podcast and putting it into the host site. So there's that where there's already audio, and I'm just pulling that audio from the original source and putting it into that directory, so that you are not only getting your viewers from your video, but you're also now reaching to the people that don't watch video, that just listen to podcasts. So that's like an example of like a process that I help people work through or figure out, like, well, I have this video, how can you help me get it to a podcast? Then I work with my clients to determine, are you wanting to record at home? What type of show do you have? And what focuses do you want on your podcast? Is it a fun, light, like, I just want to get it started, just edit out the ums and ahs and let it go? And I always have intros, outros, and all of that. And there's the people who are, no, I'd like to either set up studio quality equipment in my space to do this, or I want to go in your studio and record this. So one of my biggest processes is speaking with you to determine what your goals are, whether it's in the beginning or if you already have a podcast and you want to up that quality. So those are the things that I think of right off the bat, like the things that are so important for me to really get to know the client with in the process is, what are your initial goals? Or if you have already started a podcast, how do you want to elevate that?
Thank you for that. And Molly, I'm going to come back to you as well, because we're now all using me as an example, when I kept trying to add things, for example, to my website. Molly, you were really big in telling me that those things were not necessary. Is that going to be a part of your consultation as well when you have your assessment and meet one-on-one with individuals?
Absolutely. Well, and I'm going to dial it back too, because I kept saying website when I was talking earlier. And for my portion of this process really is not website is not a part of this. That's a whole nother conversation, but I will be helping with your visual, like a branding, a mood board, podcast logo, if you need it, graphics for your podcast, etc. So a little, like I said, it's a stripped down process especially because of the money required to do all that, like trying to just highlight what's the most important thing right now. But absolutely, learning how to edit yourself is probably one of the most important skills and the most difficult. As a writer, I cringe when I go back. I had this ridiculous love affair with ellipses, like it was terrible. And so I have cleaned up my writing so much in 10 years. So learning how to edit yourself and knowing when something doesn't match that particular element of your story, you've got to be super focused. Like, not my husband one time was talking and he was, named a famous author and he was like, do you love this author? And I was like, yeah, but I know people who can't stand her. And so the truth of the matter is you are not for everyone. And you don't need to be for everyone. And you don't need to spend your money trying to be for everyone. So editing your offering, editing your voice, focusing your attention, those are huge. I can do that for you visually. I would say in general, that's one of my strengths. So part of having me as your design consultant,
I love that.
fancy words, having me as your design consultant does come with some troubleshooting time, some one-on-one conversations, and just being able to talk through, bounce off ideas. Some of the most productive conversations Gail and I have had are just, she calls to chat about something that needs to happen. And then we start talking and she's, what do you think about this? Well, I don't love it. What do you think about this? Oh, that's great. And just having people to bounce ideas off of that aren't like, I love having Gail as a client and as a friend, but we have a relationship where I'm comfortable saying that's not a good idea. And so having those people in your life, like your mama's not going to tell you it's a bad idea. She's just not. Your partner, if they know what's good for them, actually, that's not true. They should tell you, but the people in your life might not necessarily shoot straight and that kind of stuff, or they might not know. And so I think it's helpful to have outside voices to just say, hey, rethink that, edit that. And I think if I could go back and teach that to younger me faster, I would, because it's helpful in every walk of your life. Just take a beat, strip down what you're about to say. People could probably use about half that information to get the most important pieces. So
I love that. I see Gina shaking her head too. Y'all can't see Gina, but I can see Gina. She's shaking her head as well. And Molly, you bring up something that's so important, because as you were talking, I started thinking that's the power, the word power and partnership that the three of us are really coming together to do. There's just power behind that. So often we have to keep searching for this person, that person, or the other. But here, people will be able to draw on all three of us, depending upon the tier that they will utilize. So I'm so excited about that. And it is important. And I do it with Gina as well. There's times Gina's like, well, you can do that. And Gina's a little bit more nicer than Molly, y'all. No, I'm joking. Molly's nice too. But Gina will be like, well, if that's what you want to do, but she always has this but behind that. And I'm like, all right, Gina, just tell me no. Now with Molly's going to come right out and say, no, that's not a good idea. And I'm like, all right, Molly, so what is? So we'll flesh it out. And that's the beauty of what we're doing in this power and partnership, is that you will have an opportunity to flesh it out. We can flesh it out together. So on my end of it, that's the mapping, that's the content writing, that's doing the development of your content, building it out. It's also looking at the promotions behind it, because listen, I'm going to be asking you, so start working on this now. Same thing with authors, same thing with entertainers now. We're now looking at, everyone wants to know, how many followers do you have? If you tell us that you have 100 followers, we're going to encourage you to get at least 400 more. And then we're going to push you to get 1,000. Then we're going to push you to get 2,500. Numbers are important, but at the same time, what I've learned from Molly, and I have to give her credit, is that you also have to make sure that you are maintaining an engagement rate. I gave that to y'all free. People charge for this, what we're sharing with you today, but we want to help encourage you and get your wheels turning and having you write some things down on paper. So that's where I come in. Then you heard from Molly with the design. She is I call her straight fire when it comes to design consultation. quotation. She is just straight fire. She is amazing. And again, she's not doing websites with this, but I just want to tell you now, just go ahead and start putting you a savings account together, because you're going to want her to do your website eventually as well. Then we have Gina, who's the audio engineer. She is the bomb.com, if I can share that with you. She can erase most anything off of there. She can deal with the noise, the levels, just all types of things. And she has a quick turnaround. She is brilliant. I think both of these women are brilliant. They're amazing. They're really brave to be hanging out with me, because I'm just a cut up. I'm just crazy. But we're coming together to really position you. We have and ladies jump in here at any time, but we have a desire to see you soar. We have a desire to see you accomplish and take your brand to the level you want to take it to. And the three of us, and hear me when I share this, the three of us have come together to do this. So we also want to share with you on this podcast today, don't be afraid to partner with someone. Yes, you want to get to know them. They may not be your best friend. Now, these two ladies have become my friend. They have become my friend. I didn't know them. I didn't know them at all, 3 or 4 years ago. We have become friends. We've become sisters. And we're growing from that. So you're also going to hear from the three of us some of that as well, how you develop a relationship as you're growing your brand and growing your business and what it is that you're doing. Don't go at it alone. Find somebody to partner with to do it. And we're here to help you launch it as we launch this on MLK Day. So I'm going to open it up and not really ask any questions, but Gina, Molly, jump in, share any thoughts, anything you want to share, how you want to encourage the people. All y'all know I'm excited. So go ahead, Molly, go for it.
Well, I want to say two things. I'd have two things to add to that. I cannot emphasize enough, even if it's not a partner. I have a girlfriend who is I call her my business bestie. And she was selling a brand of clothing that shall not be named, but there are multiple documentaries about. And she discovered that she didn't really like the sales, but she really liked styling the clothes on people. And she started taking pictures. And I was just cheering her on. She took if you go to my website or you see my profile on my Green Glass Pen Instagram, you'll see she took both pictures on both of my social medias, because I have a personal blog that I do. She actually took both of those pictures. One was with her iPhone, one was with the real camera. Here's another freebie. Take your own pictures. Learn how to take good pictures. Even if I have so many good pictures with my iPhone, you will be amazed at what you can do with an iPhone. And if you own your content, it is a million times better. I have a license to stock photography. It's great. It's super handy. Take your own pictures when you can. Just throw that out there. Okay. So she and I started talking, and we worked together to build her a profile on a gig platform. I hired her. I walked her through the process on how to use the platform and how to get started. And y'all, she has this incredible photography and print stationery business that is drop dead gorgeous. Like, I'm in awe of her talent. And none of that, I don't take responsibility for it, but we partnered together to do that so that she could realize her vision. And she just didn't even know where to start. And that's how I got started in 2016. I wanted to start writing more. And I had a friend who was on the same gig platform, and she walked me through how to set up an account, hired me, showed me how to bid. And here I am doing my thing. And I never would have known what to do if it hadn't been for her. So I still work with, and just, I'll throw it out there, the Pen and Piper, beautiful photography. She does product, flat lay. If you're in the DC area, she does portraits. It's unbelievably gorgeous. But that would have not happened had we not started out together, like talking about what we were passionate about and what we loved and how could we, what our ideas were, and bouncing ideas off of each other. And we actually did a collaboration, an Advent devotion where we have a print and an online version. And it was so cool. We did that last year, 4 years after the fact, maybe 3, to come together and put together our talents from that experience. So anyways, that's just get a business bestie. It's great. And what I wanted to say too about why I'm here is this stuff is expensive. It's hard. You know, people pay thousands of dollars a month to have other people manage their social media. And the reality is we're not all there. But that doesn't mean you shouldn't get started, and that you shouldn't. I mean, yes, what we will do for you costs money, not as much money as some other things, but if you can start sort of on this entry level, there are things that you can learn that will be the return on the investment, that will elevate your voice. And we're not going to promise you that you're going to turn into June Hatmaker or pick a name, but we can widen that audience, because this is the other thing I'm passionate about. I'm almost done, I promise, is storytelling, and your story in particular. It matters. Your voice is important. You are going to reach people that I cannot reach. Your impact, your experience, your knowledge set, like, it is completely unique to this whole world. And I believe if you feel a calling to tell that story, there is somebody out there that needs to hear it. I believe that I've experienced it in my life as a writer. I've experienced it as a listener. I can't tell you enough. The world needs your voice. We need you, and we need your voice.
I love that. And if I can jump in before Gina, you jump in. It's so important to be your authentic self, to be who you are. And that's one of the roles that I'm going to play as well, to make sure you are being true to you. And the other thing that Molly said, I'm going to pull it out here again, consistency. I can, and I don't know if Gina and Molly knows this already as we are recording this for the podcast, but I learned today, consistency, y'all. It's almost 2 years for News in Motion and Mimosa Fridays for me. And, numbers have been fluctuating here and there. Today, we hit 39,000, and I have it all on all my social media where I was able to grab those numbers. But y'all, that's consistency. That's staying with it. That's being true to who you are, and not just saying, forget it, I'm going to throw in the towel. Just stay on there. If there's one person that's listening to you or listening to your podcast or reading your blog or reading your book, that's one person who's going to share it with another person. I promise you, if you stay consistent. So go ahead, Gina, jump in here. Let's hear from you, sister.
Yeah, I am 100%, and that's why we are working together. Like, I am 100% agreement. Like, when Molly talked about, your voice is so important. If you are having any ounce of calling to tell your story, share your expertise, whatever it is, there's a reason for that. And like Gail just said, there is that one person that absolutely needed to hear your message on that day for a reason, and that will cause a ripple effect. And that's why I get so passionate about podcasting, because we have our voice, we have our story, we get to share it, we get to make an impact on purpose. I have a podcast. I have to say this because it's part of my story. I have a podcast called Making an Impact on Purpose. And the reason is because I have my story. I'll just say it real fast. My brother passed away in a car accident in 1998. I was 12, he was 18. That's a really crappy situation. That is a traumatizing life event. I was able to turn that into my passion for helping other people tell their story. And why podcast? I love to say this. Why podcast? Because your audience gets to listen as they live. They can be listening while they're doing laundry, driving, whatever it is. And that's why I'm passionate about those two things. Your voice gets to be heard, and it gets to be heard whenever your listeners want. So without distraction or whatever. So
I love that.
That is why I'm here, and why I'm so excited to be partnering with Gail and Molly.
I love that. I love that. And we're going to have in the show notes, and we're also going to give it to you verbally, our social media and how to contact us, because this launches, y'all, on MLK Day. That is January the 17th, 2022. And before that, I'm going to throw it back to Molly. Go ahead, Molly, jump in here.
Yeah, actually, I was just going to give a brief. I feel like we've been talking about this a lot, but I wanted to articulate one more time what's actually happening. Is that the three of us have come together to sort of form a partnership that you can access to start or amplify or punch up if it's a podcast, if it's a blog, if it's just your presence your story, your brand, business, however, whatever you're looking to do. You want to coach, you want to write, you want to be a speaker, how you want to do this. We're here to help you make it happen. So you'll be able to access the sign up form on Gail's website, and then you'll get a consultation with and each one of us is offering different levels. So you may need less help from me, a lot of help from Gina, a lot of help from Gail. So you'll be able to choose from each person what you need. And you may not need one of us at all, and that's okay too. I would say we work well together, but you choose in each level what you need, and then you get a consult with all three of us, and then we'll also work with you one-on-one in our lane. So to launch this. So you'll be able to sign up on Gail's website, but we'll be announcing it across all of our platforms come next week.
I'm so excited about that. I love how you just pulled that all together as well, Molly. See how Molly's excellent. I'm telling you, she's excellent. So go ahead, Molly, tell us your social media handles, your website, in case people just want to start getting just a sneak peek as to who are these women.
Well, I'm going to kind of break my own rule here because I actually have two social medias. One's a little more active than the other one right now, just because life, it's happening at breakneck speed around here. So I have a personal blog that is faith-based, and it's just about being a mom and an Army wife, although we're almost not an Army wife anymore. And that is just at the Mrs. Huggins. So that's more of our just life and life happening professionally, and writing and design wise. My Instagram is at the Green Glass Pen. That's my business. That's also my website, thegreenglasspen.com. Although there still is a lot of the family flavor on both of those. And that's it. Those are the places I like to communicate. That's really where my audience is. I am old enough to not do TikTok. I'll just put that right out there. So I really maintain a presence on Instagram, and I have a blog, a Facebook page for my personal blog. Which is the Grace Between. So
thank you. And I love that you remain true to yourself, which is what I've been talking about. So I love that. Thank you. Gina, give us your handles.
All right. So you can always find me, my personal page on Facebook, Gina Winks. You can also find the business page, Jinx Media, which is GINX Media on Facebook. And I am Jinx Media on Instagram. And you can find me on TikTok too. I do enjoy TikTok. But it is definitely one of those platforms that is not for everyone, but I love it. So if you do, check me out there.
Well, we'll have to come find Gina. I'm not on, as you all know, because some of you have been looking for me there. Although I may have a site, I am not on TikTok. I tried and I was like, this is not for me. The same thing when it came to Snapchat. It's like, this is not for me. All of you already know, but I'll tell you again, my Twitter is at Gail Dudley. That's GAIL, D as in David, UD as in David, LEY, as well as Instagram. It is at Gail Dudley. You gotta hang out with us on News in Motion. I mean, it has been fire lately, and it's continuing to grow. You can find News in Motion at 7:25 a.m. Eastern time on the Facebook page. And again, it's News in Motion, or on my YouTube, my personal YouTube, which is Gail Dudley, or my LinkedIn, which is Gail Dudley, for the live, or you can watch the replay. Ladies, I am so excited. I feel like we should be raising that mimosa glass to give a cheers up in the air for what we are about to launch on MLK Day. And for those of you who are wondering, why MLK Day? Because that's what we landed on. The three of us came together, we had a meeting. We had some back and forth emails. We were flushing through names and what we were trying to do and what the forms would look like and what the tiers would look like. And I'm only sharing that with you to say it takes work to do anything. But now we are here, we are at that moment, and we are so excited. We already have, I did a soft launch, well, we're not a launch, but a soft promotion on News in Motion this week. And we already have people either DMing me on social media or sending me a text message saying, when can I schedule? So people are excited that this is out here. And now all of you know, don't delay, get out here, because here's the truth. We're only taking so many clients at a time because we want to make sure that we are giving you our entire selves, and we want to make sure we have the capacity to do the work that we're doing. So we are excited. Again, all the information is going to be in the show notes. So check out our websites, our social media handles, and how you can get in touch with us. And then, as well as Molly shared with you all already, the information is going to be on my website, which is gaildudley.com. All right, ladies, y'all have anything else before we sign out of here? They're both, y'all can't see them. I can. They're shaking their heads. No, don't forget the mimosa, y'all. You have the frozen mango chunks. You're going to have mango juice 100%. It's dry January, so you're going to either use some sparkling cider or soda water, or if you just need to have the champagne, you can put the champagne in there. All right, I am Gail Dudley. This is Mimosa Fridays podcast with the launch of Power in Partnership with Gina Winks and Molly Huggins and Gail Dudley. Until next time, we are signing off, but we cannot wait to hear from you. We're out.
Are you ready to raise awareness of your brand, product, or service? Gail, the host of News in Motion and Mimosa Friday podcast, is an influencer who brings attention to every product she mentions. She started out with a few followers and is growing her base daily. Listeners, tune in Monday through Friday from around the U.S. and beyond. Let Gail help you expand and connect with new customers from all around. To get your brand, product, or services mentioned on her shows, just contact info.gaildudley@gmail.com to request her media deck. Catch Gail each weekday on News in Motion on Facebook Live at facebook.com/newsinmotion or her YouTube at youtube.com/GailDudley. You can also follow Gail on Instagram and Twitter at Gail Dudley and visit her website, www.gaildudley.com. Until next week, as Gail always signs off, stay well and remember to make some moves.